On January 20th, President Donald Trump signed Executive Order 14172, naming the body of water off of Southwest Florida the Gulf of America. Now we're bringing the Gulf of America right to your door. If you're looking to show your patriotism and rep the Gulf of America, go on madeInswiffle.com to get your Gulf of America gear. Hats for $15, shirts for $20, and koozies are just $5. It's simple, affordable, and made right here in America. MadeInswiffle.com. Get all your Gulf of America gear shipped right to your door anywhere in the USA. On today's episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides, we're going to dive into topics like the media's portrayal of an MS-13 gang member as a Maryland father, and how this goes against everything this country stands for. We're also going to talk about a 17-year-old named Karmelo Anthony charged with murder and is now under house arrest after his bond was reduced. And finally, we'll analyze Trump's latest moves in the trade war with China, imposing tariffs that reach up to 245%. All that and much more coming up on today's episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides, starting now.
The moment is here. This is our moment.
America, we are back, baby. Welcome to another episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. I'm going to dive right on into my topics today. I already told you guys about what I want to talk about. My first topic is I want to talk about everything that is currently happening with this so-called Maryland father in the news. So, an MS-13 gang member, a foreign terrorist designated by our president, was arrested on U.S. soil. They have been illegally in this country for years, since the Biden administration. They were arrested and deportation orders were put on this person. They were sent on a plane to an El Salvadorian prison where Donald Trump is sending a massive amount of illegal immigrants. And now the media is painting this like Donald Trump picked up a suburban father out of his home for no reason and sent him to a torture camp. It is one of the most ridiculous things the media has done in a while, and that's saying something because the media is extremely corrupt. But if you look up here, you'll see some of the headlines, and it's absolutely ridiculous when you see things like this. This person is a foreign terrorist, an MS-13 gang member. MS-13's motto is rape, conquer, kill. This is three disgusting words, three things that need to be out of this country, and the fact that liberals are trying so hard to bring this person back into the United States just because Donald Trump wants him out is disgusting. I don't think any liberal would want this person living next to them. No liberal would want this person dating their daughter, dating their mother, anything like that. So why should this person be in our country? This person is a despicable murderer. They are an MS-13 gang member and should not be allowed in the United States. I wholeheartedly agree with Donald Trump's decision to keep him deported. And beyond that, I want to get into why it's even just crazy in the first place that they want to try and bring him back. So, Democrats argued this all the way up to the Supreme Court that Donald Trump illegally deported, or said he illegally deported somebody. It's just, I don't even know how to explain it. It almost feels like a joke that they're trying to say he illegally deported a foreign terrorist without due process. Foreign terrorists don't need due process. They are terrorists. Foreign terrorist organizations do not deserve due process that American citizens are awarded. It should not be a controversial take. The fact that it is to some liberals right now is completely concerning. But this person was deported to an El Salvadorian prison. The president of El Salvador even said, we wouldn't release him from our prisons. This person is a criminal. El Salvador went from being the murder capital of the world, designated murder capital of the world. People couldn't even go and fly there from the United States directly because it was so dangerous at points. It was overrun by MS-13 gang members. And what did they do? They turned the entire country around. It is now one of the safest, arguably the safest country in the Western Hemisphere because of the strict actions and their police and their laws and their just huge stance they've taken against these gangs, against murder, and against the corrupt media. But everything that Joe Biden did was pretty much what got them to be the murder capital of the world. Allowing people to just pour into your country unvetted, terrorist organizations to pour into your country unvetted, is something that will destroy your country, it will hurt your citizens, and it will hurt your taxpayers. This is what Joe Biden did. Donald Trump is currently trying to reverse it. But the fact that this Maryland father has now taken the face of these illegal immigrants who have been sent to this El Salvadorian prison is ridiculous. This guy, while it is true, he might have a child and he might have resided in Maryland when he was illegally in the United States, it does not mean he's not an MS-13 gang member. Two things can be true at once, and the fact that the media picks the words Maryland father instead of MS-13 terrorist or MS-13 gang member to describe or represent this person in their news articles just goes to show you how fake the media actually is. It's very sad reading. It's something that honestly infuriates and upsets me, and it should most Americans too. This is the type of things that our founding fathers fought against and the things that we need to fight against now. The fact that our media is so corrupted, it's lying day in and day out to American people, and 50% of the, not 50%, but a huge percentage of the American population buys into it, is a massive, massive propaganda issue that we need to fix. Propaganda should not be allowed in this country. The fact that it is despicable. I want to get into the Supreme Court ruling part of everything happening with this Maryland father, but the Supreme Court argued in a 9-0 decision that the United States, if El Salvador was to release him back to the United States, that we would have to take him back. But they said that the United States can't just go into another country and extradite one of its citizens into the United States. That does not make sense. This person is an El Salvadorian citizen in an El Salvadorian prison. They're an MS-13 terrorist in a El Salvadorian prison. They deserve to be there, and the fact that liberals want to bring a El Salvadorian citizen to the United States to try and give them due process for being deported from the United States when they were a foreign terrorist illegally here is ridiculous. They don't deserve it. Homeland Security designated this person an MS-13 terrorist, and I'm going to take their word on that. Any liberal who argues against this, Ed and Brian Krassenstein, or whatever their last name is, I don't know. They're the two most annoying guys on X.com. I'm sure they're on other social medias too. They're both from Fort Myers, where I reside as well. I have consistently challenged these two to debates. They love to act like they're the two smartest people on social media when it comes to politics, but in reality, they're both brain dead. They have no clue what they're talking about, and they continuously peddle lies and propaganda to the American people and people in Southwest Florida. This is me calling them out right here. I want to debate both of you publicly. I would absolutely eviscerate both of you in a debate publicly because all of your stances and takes are not defendable. Nothing you say is defendable. Saying that you want an MS-13 gang member in our society is not a defendable statement. Would you let that person live in the house next to you? Would you let that person date your daughter eventually? No, you would not. Please don't argue that this person should be in our country, because they should not. They are a foreign terrorist. And anyone arguing that a foreign terrorist should be able to be in the United States on my tax dime, I have a huge problem with you, and I would love to debate you on that. I want to get into some of our other topics because I could talk about this one almost forever, but there's other stuff we do have to talk about that's happening in the country. I want to get over to a topic about Karmelo Anthony. This is not the basketball player, but the one who stabbed a child at the track meet in Texas. This is something I reported on before, but in a self-defense, and I put self-defense in air quotes because it's still alleged. The trial is still going on. This person just bonded out of jail. But Karmelo Anthony was sitting in the opposing team's tent at a track meet when asked to move by Austin Metcalf, who was from the opposing school, whose tent that Karmelo Anthony was under. Karmelo Anthony said, "What are you going to do about it?" An altercation ensued, and then Karmelo Anthony stabbed this 17-year-old in the heart. They were both 17-year-olds. Karmelo Anthony was then arrested. He was bonded out of jail, and his GoFundMe has raised almost over $1 million. They have now bought a new house and a new car with the money. This is one of the most ridiculous things. This person does not deserve a penny for murdering another child. I think this person should be rotting in jail. I think the fact that the family is taking this money and spending it on buying houses and cars shows you everything you need to know about them. If they actually cared about the victim's family, if they cared about their son's actions, parenting, anything, morals, they would have donated money to the victims who lost their son because their son decided to murder another child. It's one of the most ridiculous things. I urge everyone to do their own research on these things and look them up, but What Karmelo Anthony did to Austin Metcalf was murder, in my opinion, and the fact that they are throwing money at this family and this family is now wasting the money in a very stupid way tells you everything you need to know about this family. I want to go on to one of our last topics today. I want to talk about the tariffs. Tariff war is escalating. I've been talking about this for probably months now. This is something we knew would happen. With almost every other country, tariffs are set at 10% on that 90-day ban. Trump said he wouldn't move them. But with China, they have just been raised to 245% today. This is a new rise in tariffs from the previous, I think it was 145%, when before that it was 104%. I think this will continue to raise. I honestly think that Kevin O'Leary's prediction of a 400% tariff is something that we are soon to see likely. Currently, the jump from 145 to 245 is pretty big, but I think the jump from 245 to 400 is a lot more astronomical, and I think that's what's coming next. I don't think there will be a lot of steps in between. I would be very surprised if Trump went to somewhere in the 300 range before he just went up to 400. But like I said in previous episodes, I trust Trump's negotiating ability, art of the deal, and everything Trump has accomplished. I'm James Pascalides. This is America Unfiltered, episode 42. I'm signing off today. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.